Hello, this is Susan Broadley Bortfield, creator and founder of Partners at Play and Soul Speakers Global. I am so excited to have a special guest with me today, Jason Richardson. He truly is a soul speaker. Hi, Jason.
Hey, Susan. Thank you for having me on.
Thank you for playing with us today. I'm really excited, and I'm so excited about your topic. Dream regression, and so excited for that. Before we get started, I would love to read your bio. Okay. All right. So Jason is a husband, father of 5, small business owner, certified hypnotherapist, sound therapist, transformational law of attraction coach, and teaches Qigong. He has a deep passion and commitment to the healing and expansion of all those he works with. Skilled in his craft, Jason really knows how to help people achieve their mental, physical, spiritual, and financial desires. His diverse talents bring true results through an infusion of sound therapy, hypnotherapy, movement, and coaching. This unique combination allows you to feel great quickly by replacing thought patterns and actions that do not serve you well. He is gifted at assisting those he works with to change and heal their lives permanently. Jason guides you to your true abundance that resides within.
That was a mouthful. Yeah.
That only touches the iceberg too, because I know, how much more you do and how you show up in this world, and you truly are a gift in this world. So I'm so happy to be doing this. So we've been connected for a few years now. And I just want to mention that Jason is the mind, body, spirit coach for my group, Partners Private Playground as well. And I'm so grateful that, you said yes, and
well, thank you.
That you assist my clients in helping, stay true to their alignment. I'm really happy about that. So where to start with this interview, Jason? Let's start at the beginning.
Okay.
When you're in the womb, I'm kidding. So you are a man that just loves to learn about energy, the mind, the body, why we're here in this world, and how it all fits together. So you are all about energy and shifting patterns and the thoughts that we think that do not serve us. So
yeah.
Why did you get into this field? What compelled you to say, you know what, I'm gonna help the world by becoming a coach, by becoming a healer? What was going on there?
Well, I was in my early 30s and married, and we had Allison, my wife, and myself. We had three children, and I knew that something was going to have to change in the way that I approached life for me to be successful and do my part to make it all work, because I had plenty of issues and tendencies that I had picked up or inherited through family members or genetics. And I knew that something was going to have to change, and it was going to have to be within me. So actually, and I always tell the story that what sparked the change was I was at my mom's house one day, and she had a book that we all know, or most people know about, and it's called The 4 Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. And I just picked it up and I started thumbing through it, and I read a passage that just really grabbed me. And it was the first agreement, which is don't take anything personal. What other people do or say towards you or anything else has absolutely nothing to do with you. And that was like the first breakthrough I think I had, where I was like, hey, you're responsible for your own life. because it's so easy for us as we're being raised, and maybe not for everybody, but for a lot of people, we're raised to blame the circumstances, blame somebody else, and be a victim. And then in our own minds, we victimize ourselves a lot. And I just knew that wasn't going to serve me.
I love that, right? Because when I learned that for myself, when I learned that when people are angry or upset with me, or, there's conflict between us, that it has nothing to do with me. And that was so freeing. It was just so much freedom within that knowledge, because right when you think about it, when somebody is mad at you, it's because they perceive that you did something wrong. But what makes their way right and your way wrong, or your way right and their way wrong, right? Perception.
Yeah, it's all perception. And especially as you go into it, the way that we talk to ourselves. And that's been my, Achilles heel, or whatever you want to call it, through my journey. It has been trying to overcome my self-talk, in a preposition or disposition to want to be negative with myself. And a lot of people have that too. And so much of it's subconscious programming or agreements that we've allowed to come into our mind at an early age. A lot of people that feel like this, I think, are share common traumas or wounds, maybe come from broken families, divorces, and had this kind of crazy upbringings, and upbringings that just really influence the way that child will talk to itself as they become an adult. And that's kind of how I came through a home where my mom and dad divorced, and I was one of 4 kids, and my dad was kind of really, really negative, and nothing he ever did was right or good enough, and or anybody else. And there was some abuse and these kind of things that went on, and it really I think influenced the way that I perceive myself, And once I was able to discover that it's all in my mind, and I have to stay sharp, and I still have to work on it, and I'm nowhere near a complete perfect human at all, but I know that the power of the subconscious mind and the power of taking responsibility for your life can lead to, some major healing, so you can move forward in your life.
That is the epidemic, though, right? Because we will talk up others. We will say how wonderful they are, and when they're down on themselves, we're like, no, don't feel that way about you. But we are our greatest critics, and to treat ourselves with kindness, to treat ourselves with love, really is our journey here on this earth, don't you think?
I completely agree with that. Yeah, it really is, because that's such a thing to overcome, just to overcome it, and just becoming aware of it and becoming aware of the way you interact with yourself is so important.
Right. And that's even more important than how you interact with others, and it will affect how you interact with others as well.
It'll completely influence how you interact with others. If you're kind to yourself and you treat yourself with respect, then you're treating other people, kind and with respect. And if you're hard on yourself and you beat up yourself, and you start really dissecting how you're treating other people, it'll show up,
Yeah, and the way we treat ourselves is we're setting the precedence how other people can treat us, right? So when we are not kind to ourselves, when we treat ourselves critically, we're opening the door saying, hey, I treat myself this way. You can treat me that way too, right?
Definitely. Yeah, so true.
So you help your clients release these negative tendencies, these negative thought patterns, and shift so that they can experience freedom, right? So,
Yeah.
so you do this in many ways, and one of the ways that you do this is dream regression, that you help people go back into their early life, their past lives, etc., to unlock some.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you want to
So
talk about that?
yeah. So through the dream regression, so I do dream and past life regression. The dream regression can be really beneficial if you're having a reoccurring dream, or you have a dream that's just stuck in your head, that's stuck in your body, and that you're thinking about it and you want to explore what does it mean, because they're impressions of our subconscious mind. And sometimes a dream could mean that there's an action that you need to take, or that you want to take, or it could be a message that you're trying to receive from, the ethers, maybe from a loved one, or something like that. It can be so many different things. It could be a traumatic experience that you had that you're wanting to release. So it's really interesting to explore dreams and go into that state of hypnosis to where you're able to access your subconscious mind, open up, and allow your impressions to flow out. And then we can document them and ask questions and explore them, in always a safe and gentle way, of course. Like to be really gentle, don't push anything, and just see what comes up.
So that's so cool. So, I used to have this dream book that explained, like, if you dream about this or you dream about that, this is what it means. And we're always receiving guidance. We're always receiving messages from, some people might think it's woo, but we're all have psychic abilities, right? We are in tune with our own truth, and we do receive messages. Like, the veil between worlds is very thin. So I know that I receive a lot of downloads in the form of pictures, etc. So I think it's so fascinating that you help people realize what those messages are. That's so cool. So what are some of the things, without violating, of course, client privilege, but what are some of the things that came forward when you do dream regression or past life regression that has helped your client, like, move forward?
Well, especially in the past life regressions, and people will ask me, well, Jason, do you really believe in past lives? And first of all, I say, well, you know what? I don't know. I don't know. I know that I've been regressed, and that I've had experiences in past life regressions. I've regressed a lot of people, and they've had experiences. But I don't know if that's actually our soul consciousness that's in our body right now, or if it's genetic memories that are encoded into us, or it's a projection of our subconscious mind into something that needs to be fixed, and it's presenting itself that way. I don't know. I know that my experiences have been interesting, and the most recent regression I did, I found myself in Nebraska in the 40s. I was in my early 40s, late 30s, and I was a farmer. And, it was just a really serene scene. There was a house that I had in a barn, and I was a hay farmer, and had a wife and 2 daughters. And I went into my transition, and I always allow that when I regress somebody, if they want to experience their own transition. And when I transitioned, I was in a room, and I was in my, what I think was my later 80s or early 90s maybe. And I was old, and I was by myself, and I felt safe. And then when I transitioned, I was like, I left my body, and then I was in my mom's womb. So I like jumped right back into life again.
Wow.
So
Wow.
that's what I experienced, and it was calm, and it was very reassuring, and very appealing to me, because the idea of being a farmer, in a peaceful location where everything was just felt right, and being okay with dying really appealed to me. But did that really happen to me or not? I don't know, but I do know that it gave me a sense of well-being. So that's my personal
So,
experience. That
so,
I,
so that's a great take on it, right? Because many times we're given images or feelings or thoughts that are meant to just show us that all is well, or,
yeah,
and sometimes you think maybe the experience happened, but it could just be that this is how the message of well-being is being relayed to you. I love, the world needs people that can explain what's happening or help us make sense of it all for ourselves
yeah,
in a safe environment. And that's what you do. So, um, I also have done a past life regression a long time ago, and I was in a pit as an Indian girl, and I knew I was there because I was strong-minded and spoke out, and I was put in the pit. And towards the end of the dream, towards the end of the session, like I turned into an eagle and I flew. And that was so freeing. That was so freeing. So has any of your clients ever experienced something like that where
oh, definitely.
it just shifted their whole life, right?
Yeah, yeah. I had a client, and I won't name her name, but she had been. It was really interesting because she'd been a caretaker for her father, and she regressed back into a time where she was in Mexico, and she was in a village, and she was like in a hut, and she was around a fire, and she was making medicine, like herbs and things like that, and she was a caretaker. And
Wow.
apparently this caretaking pattern has been following her not only this whole life, but into this other life. And she was a caretaker, and she was taking care of other people, and her father manifested in this regression also.
Yeah.
And she was able to release a feeling, I think, of bitterness and of anger and maybe self-deprecation of sacrificing her life to take care of other people, that she loved taking care of other people, but there was another part of her that really resented it, and she felt like she sacrificed other things for these other human beings. And through this regression, she was able to identify it and then release it. And a lot of it was revolved around her father. And when she came out, she just had a major release. There was a lot of tears, and it was emotional. And she felt, she felt like she could go on with her role, which was taking care of her father from a whole nother perspective, and started doing things in her own personal life that were more in line with the things that she wanted to do, and it was really a really interesting experience. I had another one that I did with a lady, and she went back, she regressed back into like 1600s Ireland.
Wow.
And she was, yeah, it was really interesting because she was a gypsy, and she never like researched Ireland or what went on back in this time period with these gypsies, or she had no recollection of it, which was weird, you know. I mean, that's where you're going, okay, something's making sense here, because she went back and she was a gypsy. She traveled with a band of women, and they had children, and they did not have men with them, and they sold things, and they did, I can't remember what all, because it's been a while since I did this one, but it's stuck with me that they moved from town to town, and they sold things and repaired things, mended things, and they did what they could for food and for money. And she wanted to go to her transition, and she actually went to a place where she was being chased by a man, and then he got her from behind, and she died.
Wow.
And she was able, through experiencing this, and then talking about it while she was under, and then when she came back out, talking about it, and then even going on to Google and looking at images that matched up what went on with these gypsies in the 1600s. Exactly, these images that I pulled up were exactly what she was describing.
Oh my God.
Exactly what she was describing. And she was able to release a fear of death that she had.
Yeah.
You know, and she was so afraid of being chased and of being of death, of dying, that she was able to release that. And now she's, you know, she's open, since that's happened, she's really opened up as a person. She's become really successful in her life, and you know, she lives like with no fear. So
that's so cool. So when I was in the pit, and I became an eagle, and I soared, right? And I could really feel it, and it was so interesting. But I was able to release the feeling, release the contract. I think that we make soul contracts or energetic contracts with things, and that's why people show up in our past lives and such. But I was able to release being kept down. And
yeah,
you know me, right? We've been connected for years now. That, you know, growing up, I was really kept down. I was kept down, you know. Don't speak, don't be seen, don't, you know, don't ask for anything.
yeah.
So I was really kept down. But when I felt, because I felt myself soar, I felt like I felt that rush of release and freedom. And so that shifted my whole life, where nobody can keep me down no more, right?
That's awesome.
Nobody can keep me from sharing my wisdom, my knowledge, and speaking my truth anymore. But up until that point, I really did, you know, I kept a lot to myself because I didn't want to be perceived as egotistical or, you know, too big for my britches.
Yeah, I know. How did you end up in the pit? Do you remember?
I was speaking out. I don't remember what the circumstances were, but I knew that I spoke up. I spoke out. And in the pit with me was a friend from this life. And she, you know, as far as I know, she never got out of the pit. Like I knew that, like she stayed in the pit. But it was because I spoke out, and I was being punished.
Did you experience a physical death in the pit and become the eagle, or did you just kind of transcend?
It was like I transcended that role. Like I really feel like I played that role of subservience, you know, obedience, silent person. So it was almost like I transcended that. Look at me now, right? I coach people all over the world, and I speak out. And I really think that was the beginning of who I am now.
Yeah, that's amazing that you was able to have that experience and connect with that higher aspect of your subconscious mind that allowed you. I mean, you allowed yourself to become free, and your desire that created that situation.
And I cried, like when I came out of it, I just cried because I knew I was changed forever. So I love that you're doing this for people, because it really is, you go really deep in your past and whatever role that you have a contract in, or that's how I view it. Like, we set contracts, but at any time we can transcend and release ourselves from those contracts we made however long ago.
Yeah, definitely. We can edit them. We can rewrite them or just shred them, and
but
create what it is that we want, which is to feel good and to be free of, emotional baggage, and emotional turmoil, and to like ourselves. Yeah.
So past life regression, dream regression is the first step, because to release these patterns, these lifetime patterns, and we first have to know where it comes from. We first have to understand it, and that's what past life regression and dream regression has the ability to do, to show you where it is that you're held up, right?
Yeah, really, really it is. I think that it's for people who want, I really think that it's for people who are held up in something, or have some emotional blocks, or some resistance going on, and they want to release it. And I think going into a regression with the mindset of doing this for health and healing is a great way. I've never had a regression where somebody was, Queen of Sheba, or you're a famous, people, and a lot of people kind of maybe make fun of it is it would be something like that. But I've never had a regression with somebody where they were something other than, themselves,
Yeah, it was like being trapped in that pit, and I just remember going, no more.
Yeah.
Never again, no more, right? Like, I was just not gonna have that anymore. So I think everybody that feels like they're just stuck in this pattern, or they want to move forward, but there's something keeping them where they are, that past life regression, dream regression can really help free them from whatever is holding them back. Yeah, absolutely.
And it seems like it's pretty permanent, the release that people have, because it's been brought to their awareness, and it's like once that you're aware of that, and you release it and you accept it, whatever it is, it seems like everybody that I've worked on has really made tremendous progress in their life around whatever issue it was that they was having. It's really, really fascinating. It's really neat.
Right. So where I was before I did the past life regression was that I was always told that I was born with cerebral palsy. So there was zero expectations for me growing up. Like, I was never put in sports. I was never extra activities. I was, told I was broken, that I would always be dependent, right? I would always, need somebody else to take care of me. And we were to be seen, not heard. We couldn't even choose what vegetable we wanted. So we had no voice, no choice. And so to see me today, right? Big difference. And it did, I didn't know until we started talking about this subject, but I can really pinpoint it to that was the beginning of me releasing myself from whatever past cords or contracts that I had, and to just move forward.
Yeah, isn't that amazing? Change the course of your life just from
Yeah.
probably an hour and a half, you know.
Yeah. So
What, yeah,
pretty wild.
yeah.
Um, so is there anything, I mean, you do hypnotherapy for other things as well. You do past life regression, dream regression. You, you do frequency, you work with frequency and sound for healing, which is, you're phenomenal. So is there anything you want to share? Anything else you want to share before we begin to wrap up?
No, I don't think so. I think that just talking about the dream regressions and the past life regressions is definitely good for me. It's something that I'm passionate about, you know, and it's like one of the things that I found that's not just a quick fix. It's really truly not a quick fix. And some things, you know, that I do when I go into the sound therapy, which I love sound therapy. I love doing it on people and I love receiving it, or going to a gong meditation, crystal balls, and using all that. And it's great. And the tuning forks are great. And my chiropractor uses the tuning forks, and great emotional releases can happen with that work. But it's something that I keep going back for and going back for. And, you know, I've had one past life regression, and the people that I've done regressions on, everybody has only had one. And, well, I take that back. Some of them have had other past life regressions. They have, but the what they receive out of it is seems to be, you know, a permanent.
It was for me. It was
Yeah,
so
yeah,
permanent, like just
yeah.
freedom. So if you in the audience, anybody watching this, if you have not yet done a past life regression or a dream regression, you have got to do it. It is like so cool. I love, love, love it. And this is the topic that you're gonna be talking about, dreams and dream regression, in our upcoming summit on March 2nd. I'm so
Yeah, definitely.
I'm stoked for that. So
Yeah,
Jason's going to be one of the presenters, the speakers in the interactive live virtual Soar into Spring Spectacular Summit on March 2nd. So save the date so you can have the experience of Jason and many other coaches as well. It's going to be so phenomenal. This is our second annual summit. You were in the last one. So I know it was magic, right? Wasn't it
it was
magic
fun.
this time?
Amazing.
So, yeah, I'm so excited. And we have more coaches this time in this summit, and it's just going to be so phenomenal. The coaches, the healers, you, Kim, all of you are just so phenomenal, and I'm really honored and excited to help you shine your light into the world and your gifts, and share your gifts, your wisdom, your knowledge with everyone. So I'm going to share a link to both your website and a link if anybody out there wants to sign up with Jason for a past life regression, a dream regression. Do it. It's so cool and so life-changing. At least it was for me. So I know every experience is different, but if you haven't done it, or you have done it but you didn't receive what you expected last time, do it again. I mean, do it again, right? It's very safe. And Jason, you know, I have so much respect for you, and I know the character of the man you are, and you're a dear friend. And so I know that to help your clients in a very safe environment, and sometimes there's coaching that follows, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
and explanation, and we talk, you know, I mean, after a session, we're going to talk and make sure that if there's any questions or anything else that you want to talk about or explore in the awake state, we, address them. Usually it takes for a dream or a past life regression, they're going to take about an hour and a half, 2 hours, and sometimes maybe even a little bit longer than that. So you need to have some time set aside for it, and a nice comfortable place where you can relax back, and preferably, because we do so many of them over Zoom, like what we're on right now, a headset really helps, and that way you can you'll be able to hear me. And
yeah, that's so awesome. So I'm going to put the direct link to sign up for that in your website with this video. So just give yourself this gift, everyone. You won't regret it. And
definitely.
Tune in to have the experience of Jason and the other coaches on March 2nd. It's an all-day live virtual event, so it's very interactive. There's prizes and gifts and all sorts of cool things. And I'm going to put the link with this video as well if you guys want to register to tune in and see Jason. That would be amazing. Oh,
cool. Thank you.
We are complete.
Yeah, definitely.
So if you like this video, please share it with your friends. Subscribe to my channel. Much love to every single one of you. You all have the power within to create the most amazing life. You are loved. Be kind to yourself, and just be gentle with yourself. With that being said, have a fabulous day.